Hello, everyone. Gabby here.
And I'm Brenna.
And welcome back to the Mystery of Everything podcast. This is our second iteration of this because last time we spent a day recording and nothing had audio. Thanks to
Hours.
tech.
Hours. We should fire our tech guy.
We should. We should.
I'm just kidding.
He fired himself today. We figured
I
it
was
out.
going to say, he could fire me. So.
Well, in his defense, though, his computer was fried.
Like, it wasn't his fault.
We have a $2,300 paperweight, and it can't even be traded into Best Buy because it's too powerful, and they don't accept computers over those specs.
It's too powerful.
So we're gonna have to figure that out. But anyway, today's episode we're gonna be diving into forgotten scientists, which I don't know. Who's a scientist?
I'm excited.
Who's a scientist we know that most people probably don't?
Us used to be kind of. I still call myself a scientist, even though I'm retired.
My friend yesterday was like, every time I remind you you're a scientist, you look shocked, and I was like, oh, I forgot.
I feel like once a scientist, always a scientist. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. Just because I don't technically hold the job title, I'm still full of learning.
I mean, we know stuff.
I know some things.
Okay, so why did science forget about the accomplishments of these specific scientists that we're discussing today? They did work that changed the world, and now their names are long forgotten. So when we think of science, we think of the very many big names that went before and essentially paved the way for the modern advancements that we currently have today. When you think of scientists, you think of Tesla, Newton, Darwin, Mendeleev, Planck, Pasteur, and countless more. But there are even more names that contributed greatly but were forgotten in history. Well, today we're going to discuss some of the forgotten scientists and the important discoveries that they brought to us. I don't think one episode will be enough to cover them, so I feel like I will do multiple forgotten scientist episodes. So if there are any you want me to talk about, make sure to let me know. So first up, we have Nettie Stevens. Her work was absolutely pivotal to the understanding of XY sex chromosomes, which is amazing considering the fact that she made this discovery way back in the day, before anyone even knew what was happening there. So a little bit about her. Nettie Stevens was born on July 7th, 1861 in Cavendish, Vermont. Shortly after her birth, her mother died in 1863, and her father remarried and moved them to Massachusetts while she was still very young. Nettie's father was able to send his kids to vocational school, and for her, this meant she would either be trained as a teacher if she was able to get enough classes to do that, or she would be trained for a domestic service such as laundry if she wasn't able to get enough education to teach. So for her training, she attended Westford Academy, and she graduated at 19 with excellent grades. This then led to her working as a teacher, but she was very ambitious. She had much bigger goals. Nettie continued working as a teacher to fund her additional degrees. So first she went to Westfield Normal School, which was a teacher's college, and eventually at the age of 35, she enrolled in Stanford University. So, fun fact about Stanford University, it has been a co-ed institution since it was founded in 1885. And it was here that Nettie Stevens started pursuing scientific research in morphology and cytology. So basically, she studied the forms of living organisms and the structure and function of cells. And so by 1900, Stevens had earned both her bachelor's and master's degrees, with her master's degree focusing on the life cycles of two ciliates. So a ciliate is basically a single-celled animal distinguished by the possession of cilia or ciliary structures at some point in their life cycle. Cilia are short hair-like organelles that are used for movement or for obtaining food.
It is fun to watch. What?
They look creepy. Sue me.
I think it is so fun to watch them under a microscope with their little like rotary. I don't know what word am I looking for. Like maybe rotary.
Motor?
They look mechanical under a microscope. How their little legs work, almost like a cog in a wheel or something.
I have a microscope. We should mess around with that.
We should. We could really have fun with it. And I thought about getting like creek water and stuff from my house and using my microscope just for funsies to see, because I've only ever used my microscope to look at other things.
Don't say it.
If you're a long-term listener, then you already know what I've looked at with my microscope. But it deserves to have some fun things looked at, too.
That was fun. I'd assume.
It was sad because they were trying so hard to find an egg that just was not there.
And that is the life of that stuff. Dun, dun, dun. So, for her doctorate, Stevens went to Bryn Mawr College and she studied under Thomas Hunt Morgan. Yes, that one. So, in 1901, she got the Bryn Mawr President's European Fellowship, which enabled her to study and conduct research at the Naples Zoological Station and the Zoological Institute of the University of Würzburg in Germany. Her work during her doctorate continued her earlier work from her master's, and in 1903, she earned her doctoral degree. And that's when we get to her work on sex chromosomes. So the field of genetics at this time was rapidly expanding. The connection between Gregor Mendel's research on heredity had already been linked to sex chromosomes by Theodore Boveri, one of the scientists that worked at the institute in Naples where Stevens studied. But even with this link, the idea of sex determination being linked to chromosomes was not accepted. And that's where Nettie Stevens came in. So the actual determination of sex development was still unknown, as it had been for centuries. Women'sHistory.org wrote some fascinating myths about sex development that I will be building upon for a podcast on my other, actually for this show, because I was writing this for my YouTube channel initially.
Yep.
So, sorry, that's a shameless plug for this show. It was supposed to be on my YouTube channel.
But we can go ahead and plug Gab's YouTube channel too, not Gabby B. And we can plug mine, Mad as a Bren, but I only have 4 videos. So.
But they're good videos, and you should check them out. You really should.
I'm getting better with time.
So some of the myths are, in Italy in the 15th century, it was believed that eating warm foods and avoiding sitting on the cold ground would lead to conceiving a boy. While in ancient Greece, eating lettuce and drinking white wine would lead to a girl.
I feel that, yeah.
I drink a lot of white wine, and I have a girl.
There you go. Well, they say that there's old wives' tales like acidity versus how would you say that? Like basic versus acidic?
Yeah.
The pH of your vagine can determine if it's a girl or a boy. Like, let's say you really want, I don't remember which one's which, but one of them, like, you can douche with vinegar. And people actually do that. Those people do try that. Or maybe like some baking soda or whatevs to try to sway if you want a boy or a girl. We're going to have an episode on all those myths. We're going to try. No, we're not.
We're going to try.
No, we're not.
That would be dedication.
But if we have any listeners that would be willing to bite the bullet, no, I feel like that's a lawsuit. Don't do it. This is just for fun. It's a fun episode.
They'd be like, I was promised a girl. I got a boy.
No, I don't have nothing to offer you. So, except tarantulas.
But thanks to Nettie Stevens, we don't have to waste time doing any of these things because she was able to provide the first concrete evidence for the genetic basis of sex. She published a 2-part story called The Studies of Spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis is the process by which sperm cell production occurs from immature germ cells in the testes. Germ cells are reproductive cells that carry genetic information to the next generation. They develop into either sperm or eggs. So in her postdoctoral work at Carnegie Institution in Washington, Nettie Stevens was able to show that the inheritance of the Y chromosome was connected with male development in insects. In mealworms, she observed that male mealworms produce sperm with either a large chromosome, which was the X chromosome, or sperm with a small chromosome, which is the Y chromosome, which, FYI, the Y chromosome is disappearing.
Is that because of plastics?
Well, it's been shrinking forever. I read a paper on this, actually. I wonder what's going to happen to the Y chromosome. But that's going to be like centuries, eons, probably a millennia.
But
you all got time.
You know what's shrinking in our lifetime? Taints.
Testosterone levels are plummeting, people. I don't know.
It's making, like, little boys are being born with, like, smaller, shorter taints. Like, more feminine features, which that includes that. So yeah, is that something
true?
Scary.
That sounds like a conspiracy theory.
It was in the new documentary about microplastics that I had to turn off because of my OCD. Because it was wild. I was texting Gab.
Beg her to turn it off. I was like, "You are gonna freak yourself," because she has a son.
There's plastic in our uteruses. There's plastic in your ball sacks, listeners.
They're gonna be stressed.
Testes.
And you can't remove it. So
no, it's just there.
Point in stressing about it's already what's done is done.
But yeah, I don't know, testosterone levels are plummeting. I don't know what's happening.
But
the government's in our tires.
They're making the freaking frogs gay.
They're turning all the frogs gay.
Oh my God.
I did think of that too.
When you were texting me about it, that's all I could think about. I'm like, oh my God. And what of it?
Frogs gay.
But I'm pretty sure it was like, remember the study with gators? And I think it was birth control or something going into a pond in Florida, wasn't it? Where the gators were, they thought it was like just female gators, but it's actually just like men with like male gators, but presenting with female features.
I do remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
They bring it up in every single biology class, and now I'm forgetting the details. I think at some point I started tuning it out. Sounds like me. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, that might be an episode for another day. We could get an expert on to talk about it, though. That'd be really cool to get.
That would be fun.
I'm going to look into getting Dr. Blitz. He does a lot of physics content. I love his content. On for an episode. We might have to do it virtually, but it would be super fun.
Yeah,
and then
fun.
Aiden, you have to reach out to him for the clip.
Yes.
Tartaria.
I need to write. I need to finish writing. I've been a little busy, and I'm going to write. I have so many episodes. I think I have ADHD because I'm kind of
everywhere
all the time. And I'm really struggling to like focus. And then when I do focus, I like hyperfixate. Like the other day I was editing an ad, and Gabby was like, just go to bed. And I don't know. Once I hyperfixate on something, if I'm not able to do whatever it is that I've hyperfixated on, it really bugs me. I don't know why. That's probably not an ADHD thing. That's probably just a thing.
Probably.
I don't know.
Because I do the same thing where if like I can't get something done, I will panic and just spiral.
It made me feel pain. I felt like I was gonna throw up, and it was not that urgent.
It wasn't. I was texting her like, "Girl,
just go to bed," and I'm just like, I'm so close.
Like Steve's management doesn't work at midnight, so you can go to bed.
No, I definitely could have went to bed. No, but my whole point of whatever I just said was that I have like a million episode ideas that I need to put into action. They're all gonna be really fun though.
I'm excited.
Some of them are halfway written. Like the Lure Lodge that Aiden said that he'll collab with us on. It's about Tartaria, and that's a lot to bite off. I bit off more than I could chew, kind of. And that's why we're calling in Aiden. He has a 4-hour video just on Tartaria.
At this point, he's the expert, I think, on Tartaria.
He is.
So Nettie Stevens also noticed female mealworms only produced eggs with X chromosomes. So this allowed her to conclude that the chromosomes are responsible for sex determination. After she completed this study, she went back to Bryn Mawr and she worked as a research associate where she continued pursuing studies in the field of genetics, and she made a ton of other amazing discoveries, which earned her a space in the top 1,000 men of science in 1910, where she was one of 12 women to get this honor. Sadly, though, in 1912, at age 50, after receiving a position at Bryn Mawr for a research professor, she died of breast cancer before she was able to start. So credit for her work on sex chromosomes falsely go to Edmund Beecher Wilson, who was a professor at Bryn Mawr, and while he did publish research on sex chromosomes the same year as Stevens, her work was the first to solidly prove that the Y chromosome determines sex. And in 1906, Wilson and Thomas Hunt Morgan, they were invited to speak on theories of sex determination at a conference where Stevens was not invited. And this is when she was still alive.
Yeah.
In addition, Hunt not only took some of the credit for Stevens' work, but he went on to win a Nobel Prize in 1933 for his work on chromosomes and heredity, which is a bit unfair considering he didn't even accept that theory until decades after she had already proven it. And that's the story of Nettie Stevens.
Something I have to add to that too, that we went over the first time we recorded this episode, is how her studies were with mealworms. And then it got us on the idea, like, how do you get a mealworm's sperm in the first place? And then we figured out that obviously mealworms turn into beetles. And the adult beetles, they do produce sperm, which they use to fertilize female eggs to reproduce sexually. Males transfer sperm via spermatophores, which I don't know if you've ever saw leopard slugs mate with their spermatophores, but it is a fun watch.
So how do they get the sperm out?
I don't know about. I haven't seen mealworm beetles do it, so I can't speak on that. But I have seen leopard slugs doing it, not in person, only on video.
This is what you do in your free time?
I'm a biologist. That's what we do. No, it's not.
That's not what I do.
It's not. But in college, they did mention it in one of my classes. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember which one. But it was mentioned. It wasn't just me Googling that for funsies. But we watched it in a video, and leopard slugs will like hang down, and then the little spermatophore thing like comes out of them, and it's like a little woo, and then one will come out of over here, and then they'll wrap together this like slimy, gooey, weird thing, and then it's transferring their shit over while they're dangling. And it's cool to watch. We might include a clip of it in the YouTube video. Probably not. Maybe. We could find one. But I would like to see it in the wild. Me and Gab probably
she
are.
Wants to watch.
Me and Gab probably this summer. Well, we'll have to look up when their mating seasons are. But we do plan to have like an excursion where we go out, we find leopard slugs, and we record them mating. For Patreon.
Is that what we're going to do?
She wasn't aware of this plan yet. But
I'm not against it. I just, I'd feel creepy, but I mean, if they're into it.
Give the people what they want.
Leopard slugs mating.
That's what you pay $1 for. I don't know how much. Or $5.
I think it's $3 or $5. I need to go adjust those tiers.
That's what you pay. You pay something, and it's to see leopard slugs.
I'm so excited to bring you guys this live, riveting content from the field. They're in Kentucky?
Yeah.
I just found out there are also bears. We're going on a girls trip. Pray for me. She's the expert. And all I got to do is...
I'm not an expert at bears, but they do have bears in the counties that I live in. They're not like I haven't seen a bear in my backyard, but you will have sightings of them in the surrounding counties where they'll like cross the road in someone's field and they'll snap a pic and put it on the What's Happening group in Facebook.
I just need to run faster than my other two friends, so I think I'm good.
I've been working out. No, Gab on the treadmill, she's got me beat for sure.
Yeah, but I hate
I'm coming for you.
Do it.
These guns. CrossFit.
Girl, that's a bicep.
CrossFit? No, I'm just kidding. I just started like 2 weeks ago. I don't have muscle yet, but soon I'm going to be snatched. Heard that.
So next up, we have Ibn al-Haytham. So I've covered him before on this podcast because of his work that earned him the title of the father of modern optics. So writing about him is a little bit harder though, because information on his early life is super conflicting, with some sources exploring the possibility of him actually being two people. The most reliable sources of his life come from the historian Ibn al-Kifti. So for this segment, I'm going to look at PubMed and CBI. So Ibn al-Haytham, he not only wrote an insanely detailed early description of optics, but he also had an early version of the scientific method that he used in his research. I'm just making sure we're recording because I am scarred.
Yeah. We have PTSD.
So Gordon wrote the following description of al-Haytham's work on the scientific method. Quote, according to the majority of the historians, al-Haytham was the pioneer of the modern scientific method. With his book, he changed the meaning of the term optics and established experiments as a norm of proof in the field. His investigations were not based on abstract theories, but on experimental evidence. His experiments were systematic and repeatable. So Ibn al-Haytham was born in 955 in the city of Basra. He originally was trained in civil service, and he actually became a judge for Basra. But he didn't stay in this long, and instead he turned to science, where he became very good at math and physics. So good that people in Iraq, Syria, and Egypt, they knew of his knowledge. Then he got invited to help with regulating the flow of the Nile during floods by the Caliph of Egypt, Al-Hakim by Amar Allah.
Now that I know what's about to happen.
And you're like, yay, great. I love that for him. However,
the first time this really caught me by surprise.
She was like, good for him.
I was like, yeah, you go. And then the story takes a turn quick.
But this caliph, he was a well-known terrifying leader, and he was known for horrifyingly brutal laws and punishments. So the most dangerous part of his job was his employer. which wasn't good for Al-Haytham because his entire plan to regulate the flow of the Nile wasn't viable. And so when he realized this, he did the only thing he could think to do to avoid punishment. He faked insanity, which led to him being kept under house arrest for 10 years.
That is so funny to me.
Literally.
Not like him being on house arrest, but just like what else are you gonna do? Like, what other option do you have? Either you die or you fake insanity, because you
House
can't
arrest
admit that you were wrong.
Isn't that bad for him, at least? It
No.
worked out for him. But he stayed under house arrest for 10 years until the caliph died in 1021. Like, can you imagine doing that because you sucked at your job? So, I mean, anyone who wants to quit, there's options. Also, if you go to the psych ward, do you get FMLA?
Do you?
I don't know. I'm asking.
She's asking me because I should be the one to know. I don't know. The place that must not be named, because I'm not. You're not coming. You're not coming for me. But they didn't want me to use my FMLA like ever. I went in there and was like, "Hey guys, I'm just thinking about wanting to die," and they were like, "Have you thought about just making a lap around the building?" Just get some fresh air. And then she was like, "Aren't you worried about what your coworkers are going to say about you if you leave?" Like, what? I have OCD too, like diagnosed OCD and anxiety disorder. And I was having a minty bee. Like, I am unwell. Yeah. And I did at the time have FMLA for my mental disorders. And I was like, "Girl, I'm not doing good." And she was like, "You should probably be concerned about people talking about you, actually." I was like, "Okay, bet. Going back to work. I'm going to go cry into the trash can."
This is why I thought you'd be the expert.
It is very valid that she would be the one to ask me.
So when he was finally released from house arrest, he moved to a domed building near Azhar Mosque in Cairo, where he taught math and physics and made money by copying texts. However, while he was under house arrest, he wrote the Kitab al-Manzur, or the Book of Optic, as well as many other books on science concepts, including the early development of the modern scientific method. In all, Al-Haytham wrote over 200 books on scientific studies and more. According to NCBI, 96 of his scientific works are known, with about 50 of them surviving to today. He wrote books on astronomy, physics, medicine, mathematics, psychology, anatomy, engineering, and so much more. He might have had ADHD.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just...
See, I feel like house arrest did him good because, like, he had literally nothing to do other than just write shit and learn. And, like, when you're faced with enough boredom, you get really creative and you think of things that you wouldn't normally think of. And he had all the time in the world to be able to do these things.
I'm going to clip that and play it for Joya next time she's like, "I'm bored."
No, they do say, like, psychologists say that kids should have 2 hours of boredom a day because it makes you creative. Like, you get your best ideas when you're bored because you do things you wouldn't normally do. You experiment, you think outside of the box. So, yeah, I think it was good that he was on house arrest. And I also feel like his story goes to show that, like, just because you're at your rock bottom and you might be like, "This sucks, I don't want to do this no more," something great could be right around the corner in 10 years.
So I thought about what I would do on house arrest if I was super bored. So you know the Kama Sutra?
No.
Okay. Well, I would write a romance novel that uses every single position in the Kama Sutra.
What's a Kama Sutra?
The sex positions book.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just use every single position. And it's literally not going to be...
Why aren't you starting on it now? The time is now.
No, I'm not bored enough. There has to be like real boredom there. Like the power is out. We're on a quarantine. Oh my God. The power going out during quarantine would have ended me.
Yeah.
That's
I've
a
been
rough
writing some books in my spare time, but again, like, I have like 6 in action right now.
Don't steal my idea. It's porn without plot.
No, I have 2 good ideas, but one of them I came up with it when I was like 18, and it's just been chilling. And Stephen King, which I don't know if he's a guy you should take advice from, because some of his books, I'm like, "Sir, you really don't have to like mention some of the stuff that you mentioned. You can still have scary books without mentioning some of the stuff you mentioned.
I know
Neither
what you
here nor there.
mean.
But he says that if you get an idea, you need to write that book within like 3 months or less, or at least the rough draft of it, or else you're gonna like lose your train of thought and all the good stuff. You know, you're gonna lose your fire and all that jazz. But then, on another term, J.K. Rowling, which again, controversial there, but she took 5 years to write the first Harry Potter book. And yeah, so I don't know. There's still time for me. She didn't get published until she was 30. I'm 30. I still got some time.
I believe in you.
I feel like I can do it, but I'm a good writer if I'm inspired, and then once I but once I lose it, you know, you got to be in the mood or else it's just gibberish.
My book will probably be gibberish.
A lot of people make good money off gibberish. Some of the romance books I've read, I'm like, how does this pass as a book?
Oh God, I've seen some terrible ones, and I'm not shit talking. Like, I'm glad they wrote, and I'm so
like,
happy
good
for
you.
everyone.
You wrote a book,
who's creative.
Good for you.
But I got recommended this book, and I'm not even joking. The first like 4 chapters was like, whoa, I would have written this in middle school, and on top of that, it was typo after typo. And this is a published book. I paid money for this. I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
And I don't like whenever you dive into a book. This will be on Patreon.
I got you.
Sorry about that. That's definitely on Patreon.
Yeah. So in his book of optics, which is ranked as one of the most influential books ever written in physics, he made the first real description of how a lens works, specifically the ability of a convex form to produce a magnificent image of an object. He also studied the movement of light through different objects, which led to his discovery of the laws of refraction, which included experiments involving angles of incidence and deviation. The work also included Alhazen's problem, which was used to determine the point of reflection from a plane or curved surface given the center of the eye and the observed point, which he stated and solved by means of conic sections. He also did some of the first experiments on the dispersion of light into various colors. And that's just some of his discoveries when it came to optics. He also contradicted earlier theories by Euclid and Ptolemy that vision comes from rays of light emanating from the eyes, which was the early theory of vision. Al-Haytham wrote that passive reception by the eyes of light rays reflected from objects, not light rays emanated from the eye, is how vision worked, which was revolutionary. They really thought we were out here shooting like beams. That would have been cooler. That would have been
They've
cooler.
got laser beams attached to their heads. Gabby doesn't get that reference.
I don't know what you're talking. I knew it was
Sharks with laser beams attached to their heads.
I'll Google it after.
Austin Powers.
Oh, I've watched that. I just do not remember a single quote.
I sing Daddy Wasn't There all the time, and Chris is like, Brenna, you need to stop. It's a bop, though. Like, I don't sing it like about people. My dad is there. But Daddy with an English accent.
Oh my God.
Chef's kiss.
So, his work on the scientific method set the groundwork for the modern It's stuck in my head now. For the modern development that we have now. He established experimental methods that could be controlled with verifiable hypotheses, as well as independent verification. And that's the story of Ibn al-Haytham.
I like his story. It makes me chuckle.
It's very chaotic.
Yeah. Like the life that man lived. And then it blows my mind that some people are just so intelligent that they can come up with stuff like that. I don't know. It's very cool.
I don't know. I feel like I have deep thoughts, but I'm sure someone's thought them before.
I don't know. Maybe he was just like staring at light shining through the window on house arrest.
He didn't even have TikTok to scroll. No Wi-Fi.
He was just sitting, maybe reading, maybe.
I wonder how far
looking at light.
advanced we'd be if we got rid of social media.
Because the shit I could get done if I wasn't mindlessly scrolling sometimes. Or watching, which I haven't been able to do it lately that much, because I have been making myself be more productive. I am proud. But some of the trashy reality TV, that's gotta rot my brain. Yeah.
I try to watch it, and I just get so mad.
Bad. It's so bad.
So mad.
I watched some of the new season of Temptation Island, and that...
So the final scientist that we will be talking about today is Alice Ball. Alice Ball was an African American woman that discovered the pre-antibiotic cure for Hansen's disease or leprosy. Well, it wasn't like a cure, it was a treatment. But after her death at the age of 24 in 1916, she was essentially erased from the narrative. Alice Ball was born on July 24th, 1892, to a black newspaper editor, photographer, and lawyer by the name of James Presley Ball, Jr., and a white photographer named Laura Louise Howard Ball. According to Smithsonian Magazine, she had a very good upbringing, with her paternal grandfather also being a renowned photographer who captured photographs of people like Frederick Douglass and Charles Dickens. In fact, it was her grandfather's photography darkroom that Alice was first introduced to chemistry. So that's cool.
Mm.
Charles Dickens.
I know. Whenever you said that, I was like, "Wow."
That was not that long. Like
in my
comparison.
mind, I picture Charles Dickens as being a long time ago.
Same. So when Alice was a child, her family moved to Hawaii for a while with the hopes that the warmer climate would help improve her grandfather's arthritis. But even though a lot of her story takes place in Hawaii, after her grandfather's death, her family moved back to Washington. Ball was always a super driven child. She was described as being very intelligent and like very ambitious. She participated in multiple clubs and activities, and her graduation yearbook quote was, "I work, and still it seems I have nothing done." Me too, girl.
That is so true.
And there is no better quote to describe her work ethic and drive, as after high school, she went on to get a double bachelor's degree in 4 years. So one in pharmaceutical chemistry and the second in science of pharmacy.
That is insane.
In addition, she co-authored research called Benzoylations in Ether Solution that was published in the Journal of American Chemical Society, which, like the ACS, is a very prestigious journal. After earning her bachelor's, Ball moved back to Hawaii, but this time to earn her master's degree in chemistry. Although she chose Hawaii, she had offers from both the University of California, Berkeley, and the University of Hawaii. Completing her master's degree at the University of Hawaii ended up earning her the title of the university's first Black and first female master's degree holder. In addition, she became the university's first Black woman chemistry instructor. And honestly, that would have been something in 1915.
Yeah.
So for her master's degree research, Ball studied the chemical makeup of the kava root and other plants, but mainly focused on the kava root for the treatment of different ailments such as headaches, insomnia, and kidney issues. She worked on solubility and ways to make it an injectable method of treatment. And this research is what led to her being asked to work on an injectable form of cholmugra tree oil to treat leprosy. So Harry T. Hallman, he was a physician that was already using this oil on mild leprosy cases, but the treatment had many negative side effects, with the injectable form being really painful because the consistency of the oil caused it to clump and form blisters under the skin. Like imagine you already have leprosy,
Yeah.
and then the treatment makes it more painful. Like, I don't know.
And we're going to post pictures, some milder pictures of leprosy, because like before we did this episode, the first time, I did not really, I mean, I knew what leprosy was, but looking at pictures of leprosy is very different than just having an idea of what leprosy is. And holy cow, it's so bad.
So Hallman, he wanted to see if she could improve it and make it less painful for people, because like with her chemistry background, she was really good at like working on solubility. So in Hawaii at this time, technically from the mid 1800s to the mid 1900s, the handling of leprosy was horrible for Native Hawaiians. And when I say horrible, I mean like it was horrible for the people it was happening to, but it was like the best course of action for containing leprosy. So a lot of them were hunted and shipped off to a leprosarium on Kalaupapa Peninsula. So the entire thing on the handling of leprosy is going to be like the next episode we record, because families were torn apart, kids were ripped from parents, and bounty hunters were used to hunt down infected people and drag them off. And this was the treatment for Native Hawaiians. With like a lot of the white leprosy sufferers, they were allowed to leave and get treatment because they probably had more resources.
Yeah.
And they were able to go back to the mainland. So anyway, look out for that because it's coming up, and it was kind of sad, like really sad.
It was very sad. It made me cry, actually.
Yeah. But after being approached for help, Ball spent her free time in the lab working to make cholmugra dissolvable in water so that it could more easily be injected. She accomplished this by isolating the ester compounds by freezing them off with a method known as the Ball method. So this made it possible to inject Cholmugra without the painful abscesses. However, soon after making the breakthrough and working to perfect it, she got ill. Now, the cause of her death listed on her death certificate was tuberculosis. And we can take that with a grain of salt, though, because her death certificate and her birth certificate also listed her and her parents as white, which they may have done that just because it was the time, so it made
Yeah.
traveling, business, schooling easier. The possibility of her accidentally inhaling chlorine gas after demonstrating how to use a gas mask, though, that's the other possible cause of
Yeah.
death. So, shortly after her death, Arthur Dean, a chemistry professor and president of the university, he had helped her on that project. He made small tweaks to her method, and then he published it, claiming it as his own and calling it the Dean method. So, Dean, he gave Alice Ball zero credit for this, however. And for decades, Holman, the physician that approached Alice for help, he held on to the knowledge that she was the one that had made that discovery. And in 1922, he gave her credit in a journal article. So the thing is, from all of the research that people like Stan Ali, who's a person that has spent a significant amount of time looking into Alice Ball, it shows that Alice was a very kind and giving person. So I think she wouldn't have minded that he did that as long as it was able to help people, but still, it
But
was her
I
work.
mind.
So she helped a ton of people. Between 1919 and 1923, no leprosy patients were exiled to Kalaupapa. Instead, they were able to be treated and then released. Sadly, they were not able to close down that leprosarium with just the Cholmugra treatment, but it did remain the method of treatment for leprosy until the development of sulfonamide drugs, which are basically just antibacterial drugs, in the 1940s. And that's the story of Alice Ball. Today, Ball has received recognition with a tree gifted by King Pajaj Dipok of Siam, which is now Thailand. And that has stood on the University of Hawaii's campus since 1935.
I think that's super cool, and I would like to see it. But
Same.
also, there's controversial because me and Gab are not from Hawaii, and native Hawaiians don't want tourists there, rightfully so. I totally get it. I respect it. I still want to be there.
I just want to see it one
I just
time.
want to see it. I just want to do like a little peek. Just like maybe just let me do a little pop and stop for just like a day. I won't touch nothing. I won't fuck with nothing. Just a pop and stop.
I did a paper on,
I might get in the ocean.
I forgot exactly which island, but basically the resorts take a lot of the water, so the people who live there can't get water.
Yeah.
But it's always been like that because I went all the way back for that research paper. And essentially, they used to reroute water sources in order to feed water to the plantations, taking away water from places that I need to go. So it actually changed the landscape of a lot of the land in Hawaii. It's crazy.
That's a lot.
What has occurred.
That's a lot. And you can, I don't remember if we talked about it in this episode or in the next episode, Kalaupapa. You can visit there.
You can, yeah.
And I also think that that would be interesting to see as well.
It's a national park, so I think the National Park Service they take you on tours. It's kind of hard to get to, but yeah.
I would like to see it. But then we also got into the discussion of like leprosy. I was curious if so like if they sent, well, we can talk about that in the next episode.
Okay. But yeah, Alice Ball also has a bronze plaque, which was placed in front of the tree in the year 2000, with the university awarding her the Regents Medal of Distinction in 2007. In addition, a scholarship called the Alice Augustus Ball Endowed Scholarship was established in 2017. And yeah, that's the story of Alice Ball. Thank you guys for listening. If you have any other scientists you want us to cover, make sure to leave it in the comments. You can also email us. And yeah, bye.
Send us, we're not bye. Send us spooky stories, campfire stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because we're going to be we have a girls trip, and we're going to be doing fun stories around the campfire as episodes, maybe Patreons. Gabby wants to like play guitar and sing a little campfire song as like a Patreon special.
I can't play guitar, so you guys will not be getting guitar.
She's being modest. She's very talented. So just look forward to that. But we need you all to like send in ideas, send in stories, like listener stories or whatevs. I don't know. Send us stuff in so we'll start writing now. That way when we get there, we're just going to be filming an insane amount of content. And
I'm
it'll
gonna
be
be
fun.
terrified.
Spooky. We'll get bear tasers.
Or bear spray. Does bear spray work? I'm assuming
Probs.
not.
I don't know. I've never encountered a bear.
Yet. Okay, so in the next like the patron exclusive, we're gonna look up how we survive a bear attack or things to not do when you're getting chased by a bear.